floor of scene 2 is now lower than scene 1. Causes the we may not only get stuck in the floor, for example, if detection, so we better be prepared to handle it ourselves. What we will do therefore is detect the collisions after changing scenes, and then move the player up and down, moving further and further away from the original location until we find the closest position where we no longer collide. Then stop there. We are out of the collision. Simple enough, right? So let's code that up. In the player sprite, find the when I receive tick last script. So notice we have a bit of repetition here. The scripts for moving off the right side of the screen and moving off the left side of the screen are very similar. And since we are now going to add more code to these, let's a text label go to X and another numeric input named X. Please note, we are again not using the run without screen refresh option. We mustn't, as changing a scene takes more than one frame to complete. Okay, so move the script from one of these ifs into the new custom block definition. In its place, we put our new block. Now, the scene input needs to be set to the actual scene number we want to move. Full scene hash plus 1 here. The X position wants to be the same. We can test that. And yeah, the scene changes and the project has stopped running. You can see that because the red stop sign has gone dim. The reason we stop things is that we want to check for and fix collisions before the game loop continues to run. Next, I'm going to move the setX block up to before we broadcast the change scene, just to make it clear that this occurs before the scene changes. A broadcast change scene without a wait, the event is not actually run right away, but instead queued up to run later. But we do need it to happen before doing any collision checks, so the simplest way is to drop in a wait for 0 seconds after the broadcast. This way, the level will have a moment to update, and we are now ready to detect collisions. We'll make a new custom block named Fix Collisions in Direction, with a numeric input dir, meaning direction. This time, please do tick the run without screen refresh, as this needs to run fast. Use it right away after the wait block, and set the direction, the dir, to 0. This means up, as we want to begin by searching up and down to get out of any collisions. Finally, after the new block, remember that we stopped the main game loop, so we'll start it up again using a broadcast game loop. I think it's worth another quick test to ensure things are still holding together as planned. I just need to walk off the screen and yep, the game loop is working again, but the bug is still not fixed. So let's shake things up and get unstuck. We are going to be moving and turning to get the player out of the ground. So we'll make a note of the direction they are currently facing by creating a new variable, temp. That stands for temporary, making it for this sprite only. And set temp to the player's direction. To restore their direction again, at the end we'll use a point in direction temp, like that. Now make another new variable, naming it distance, for this sprite only. This will keep track of how far we should move looking for non-collisions. Begin by setting it to 1. Next we point in direction and use the input variable dir. This is the direction we want to begin moving in to get unstuck. So we are going to need a repeat loop, and let's opt for 64 attempts to get free. Next up, before we've even moved anywhere, we'll look to see if we're actually colliding with the level is occurring. So we are good. Use that point in direction temp to restore our direction to what it was before, and then stop this script to break out of this repeat loop. We are done. But if we are still touching, we have work to do to get free. We move forward, ready to move back and check the opposite side. Lastly, change distance by 1, so the next time we will move further. And that's basically it, because now this repeat loop will run over and over, moving us further each time until the player is no longer colliding, or that is until we've tried 64 times.